All right. Let's dive into something pretty deep here. You know, if you've been following along with us, you know, you've been exploring self-improvement and all that spiritual stuff lately. And this source we have, this is going to blow your mind.
It's pretty powerful.
Yeah, chapter 5.
Yeah.
From a larger work about EchoTruth,
Right.
and it's called The Power Within. And it gets into some really big concepts about our potential, you know,
Well, yeah.
and all that good stuff.
It really does blend the intellectual and the spiritual
Yes.
in a way that
I love that.
is not just about thinking positive. It's about wisdom and strength and beauty.
Yeah. And it all works together, too.
We're working together, yeah.
It's like a holistic approach
Yeah.
to becoming, you know, like the best version of ourselves.
Exactly.
And one of the things that really stuck out to me was this analogy of fire.
Oh, yeah.
The source uses this analogy of fire to represent our inner potential. And it says that, you know, fire can help us overcome any obstacle.
Yeah.
But fire is always changing, right? So
Oh.
are we?
Absolutely.
You know, it's about embracing change as part of growth.
And growth requires us to really understand ourselves and understand the people around us. There's this interesting bit in here about discerning character.
Okay.
And the source talks about how you should spend time with people one-on-one, even in debate,
Okay, yeah.
to really see their true nature.
Right.
You know, it's like going beyond the surface interaction
Yeah, it's about going deeper.
and really understanding someone's core.
Yeah, that's so true. It's so easy to get caught up in appearances.
Right.
But, you know, real connection happens when we go deeper.
Absolutely.
Now the source talks about the incredible storage capacity of DNA.
Oh, wow.
Have you ever heard about how scientists have been able to store digital information like an entire book in DNA?
Oh, yeah, that's amazing.
It's incredible, right?
It's wild.
So the source highlights this fact that a single gram of DNA
Wow.
could theoretically store every movie ever made.
Yeah. All the movies ever made, that's just crazy.
That's insane, right?
Yeah.
And it connects this to the idea that our bodies might be like capacitors, capable of holding tons and tons of information.
Oh, wow.
So it makes you wonder if we're only accessing a tiny fraction of our true potential.
Exactly. And that ties into the idea that each cell in our body has electrical potential.
Okay.
Something like 0.07 volts
Wow.
per cell. Now imagine multiplying that by the trillions of cells in our bodies.
Right.
We're like walking power plants.
Whoa, are you saying we could power a city with our collective energy?
Well, probably not directly, but the
Okay.
source is saying we have this incredible energy within us
Right.
that we haven't even begun to tap into.
It makes you wonder what's possible if we could.
Exactly.
Right.
It's pretty exciting.
Yeah. And speaking of untapped potential,
Okay.
the source goes on to talk about overcoming negative emotions.
Okay.
Things like arrogance and greed, and jealousy.
Right.
It's like this little self-help guide nestled in this grand exploration of consciousness.
I like that.
I know, right?
Yeah.
What's interesting is the source gives specific antidotes for each negative emotion, right?
So for arrogance, it's fairness, responsibility, and truthfulness. For greed, it's love and generosity.
Okay.
You know,
Like a recipe
it
to
is
a better life.
It's a recipe for a balanced life,
Yeah.
a more fulfilling life.
But what about jealousy?
Okay.
That can be so powerful.
It is a powerful emotion.
How do we overcome that?
Well, the source suggests cultivating kindness and empathy.
Okay.
It's about understanding where the other person is coming from and celebrating their successes,
Okay.
instead of letting that jealousy eat away at you.
Right. Instead of letting it fester.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
You know, it's about shifting our perspective from comparison to compassion.
Yes. And there's this other thing that I found really interesting.
Okay.
The source says that strong self-belief can act as a shield against negativity.
Oh, that's interesting.
Have you ever noticed that?
I have.
Like when you really believe in yourself,
Uh-huh.
negative comments from other people,
Yeah.
they just kind of bounce off.
They do. It's like when you're secure in yourself,
Yeah.
you're not as affected by outside opinions.
The source even says that sometimes those attacks are actually the universe
Oh, wow.
trying to push us to be our best.
I like that.
Like it's a challenge disguised as an obstacle.
Mm.
So it's about reframing those challenges and
Right.
seeing them as opportunities for
Yeah,
growth.
absolutely.
Okay, get ready for this.
Okay.
The source introduces this concept of divine power
Right.
with a capital P.
Right.
and contrasts it with everyday power, what it calls third-dimensional power, right? So divine power is described as this fifth-dimensional power.
Right.
The ability to alter energy and reality beyond space and time.
Right. It even mentions these fifth-dimensional beings of light.
Okay.
And the 528 hertz frequency of love.
Okay, I'm intrigued, but I'm also a little lost.
Okay.
How do we access this divine power? And what does it have to do with me?
The source suggests that our past experiences, even past lives, can create blocks that prevent us from tapping into our full potential.
Okay.
And those blocks are often rooted in fear.
Fear, I can relate to that. Sometimes fear holds me back from taking risks or going after what I want.
I think we all experience that.
Yeah.
And here's something interesting.
Okay.
The source points out that the physical sensations of fear and excitement are actually very similar. It's our interpretation of those sensations that makes all the difference.
Oh, wow.
So maybe if we can reframe fear as excitement, we can unlock that divine power within us.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
So how do we actually do that?
Well, the source gives us an exercise
Okay.
for connecting with our higher self to remove those blocks. It starts with releasing judgment and cultivating self-love.
Okay. Self-love. That's something I could work on.
I think we all could.
Yeah, what's next?
Then the source suggests grounding ourselves in the present moment.
Okay.
Maybe spend some time in nature.
All right. I can picture myself doing that. Feeling the grass beneath my feet, listening to the birds singing.
Yeah, just connecting with the simplicity and beauty of the present moment.
That's so peaceful.
Right. And then the source recommends keeping a gratitude journal.
Okay.
And connecting with your ancestral roots through meditation.
Wow. Like mindfulness and gratitude and ancestral wisdom.
All rolled into one.
All rolled into one. So after we've done all of that, then how do we connect with our higher self?
That's when you politely ask your higher self to remove any fears or obstacles that are preventing you from stepping into that divine power.
Right.
You don't even have to know what those fears are specifically.
Right.
Your higher self already understands.
That's reassuring.
Right. It's like having this wise, loving guide that always has your back.
The source also mentions an alternative method.
Okay.
Where you write a letter to your higher self, expressing your desire to release those blocks.
Okay.
You read it aloud before bed. Place it under your pillow.
Okay.
Then read it again when you wake up and dispose of it.
Wow.
You can do that once or repeat it until you feel a shift.
That's powerful.
It is pretty powerful.
Yeah.
And it's amazing this whole chapter is just packed with practical tools and techniques for unlocking our potential.
Absolutely. And we're just getting started.
I know, right?
We have so much more to uncover in this deep dive into the power within.
Yes, we do.
Including how to deal with some of those common vices like excess, anger, and laziness.
Oh, yeah. That's next time.
Yeah, next time.
Okay, so we're back.
We're back.
And we're ready to dive into some more of this practical advice from the power within.
Right.
It talks about, different vices and virtues. And it's interesting how it kind of tackles these age-old concepts.
Yeah.
The first one is excess.
Excess.
Yeah. It's something we probably all struggle with.
I think so.
At some point.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
The source defines it as kind of going overboard.
Right.
With certain behaviors or beliefs.
Right.
Even habits.
Yeah, so to be overspending.
Overspending or overeating.
Yeah.
Having an overinflated ego.
Right, like thinking you're better than everyone else.
Right.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that.
I think we all can.
Sometimes I get so caught up in something that I lose all sense of balance.
Right.
So what's the antidote to excess?
Well, the source talks about composure,
Okay.
control, and contentment.
Okay.
It's about finding that moderation in all areas of life.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like enjoying things without letting them take over.
Exactly.
So how do we actually practice moderation?
Well, the source suggests things like regulating our thoughts and emotions.
Okay.
Practicing self-restraint.
Right.
And really focusing on being content with what we already have.
Okay.
It cautions against things like gluttony, alcoholism, and unhealthy desires, highlighting how that unchecked excess can really have a negative impact on our well-being.
It's a good reminder to be mindful of our choices.
Yeah.
Okay, next up is anger.
Anger.
That's another one that can really take hold of us.
It is a powerful emotion.
Powerful emotion.
The source describes it as a force that builds up like pressure in a volcano.
Wow.
eventually erupting.
So it's like, we keep it all bottled up and then boom, snakes. The source links anger to things like jealousy, resentment, and vengeance.
Right, they all kind of feed off of each other.
It's like a cycle.
It is a vicious cycle.
So how do we deal with that?
Well, the source emphasizes peace balance, patience, kindness.
Oh, okay.
And it even mentions Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins.
Who believes that gratitude is a powerful antidote to anger.
Interesting.
He says you can't experience both anger and gratitude at the same time.
So gratitude to combat anger.
Yeah, it's about shifting your focus from what's making you angry to what you're thankful for.
Okay, what's the logic behind that?
Well, the source explains that Robbins' morning routine includes reflecting on things he's grateful for, offering blessings for himself and others, and visualizing his desired outcomes.
So he's starting the day.
He's starting a day with a positive mindset.
Right.
Yeah, to prevent that anger from taking root.
So it's like a preventative measure.
Yeah.
But what if you're dealing with a situation that's genuinely unfair?
Okay.
Is it always wrong to feel anger?
That's a great question.
Right.
And the source acknowledges that there's a difference between destructive anger and a more constructive form of anger, what it calls active nonviolence.
Active nonviolence.
Yeah, sounds a little contradictory.
Right.
But it's about channeling that anger into constructive action.
Okay.
To address injustice.
So it's about standing up for what's right.
Exactly.
Without resorting to aggression or violence.
Right.
So it's like using your voice to speak out against things that are wrong.
Right.
Or taking peaceful action
right.
to create a more just world.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
Very powerful.
Okay, so from anger, we move on to nonviolence.
Nonviolence.
Which is a concept that's been central to some pretty major social movements in history.
It has.
I'm curious what the source has to say about it.
Well, it defines nonviolence as rejecting violence and aggression.
Okay.
In all their forms. Both in our personal lives and how we interact with the world.
It goes beyond just like
it does.
Physical violence.
Right. It's about our thoughts, our words, our actions.
Right.
It explores the concept of active nonviolence.
Okay. Active nonviolence. So what does that involve?
Things like non-cooperation, intervention, even self-sacrifice.
Wow. Self-sacrifice. That takes
a lot of courage.
A lot of courage and commitment.
The source gives the example of Gandhi.
Oh, yeah.
And how he used civil disobedience.
As a form of active nonviolence. Yeah. That really brought about some major change.
Incredible change.
Yeah. It's a good reminder that peaceful resistance can really have those ripple effects.
Absolutely.
Okay. And the source also talks about nonviolent resistance, which is about achieving social change without violence.
Without resorting to violence.
So what's the difference between active nonviolence and nonviolent resistance?
Well, active nonviolence might involve specific actions.
Okay.
Like protests or boycotts. Nonviolent resistance is more of a broader term that includes all sorts of peaceful ways to oppose injustice.
Okay.
So it could be refusing to comply with unjust laws or practices.
Like silent protests, things like that.
Exactly.
It's fascinating how the source emphasizes these nonviolent approaches, even when they seem small or quiet.
It's like that saying, the pen is mightier than the sword.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about excess, we talked about anger. Now let's talk about laziness.
Laziness.
It can be pretty sneaky.
It can.
I think we all, need those moments to rest and recharge.
Absolutely.
But the source seems to be talking about something deeper than that.
Right.
So what's the source's take on laziness?
It defines it as neglecting your duties and responsibilities.
Okay.
And the effort that's required to live a meaningful life.
Right.
It talks about how this neglect can lead to carelessness, sloppiness, even a lack of self-respect.
It impacts more than just
more than just our productivity.
Yeah, productivity.
It affects our self-esteem.
Oh, self-esteem, yeah.
Our relationships.
So what's the solution?
Well, the source suggests physical activity.
Okay.
Courage, dedication to your goals, fulfilling your obligations, and importantly, finding joy in the work that you do.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's about being engaged, finding that spark.
Exactly.
Now, this next part is interesting. The source goes from talking about laziness to a potential cure for cancer.
I know, right? It's a little bit of a jump.
Yeah, but it ties into this whole theme of the power within.
Right.
So how does a cure for cancer relate to all of this?
Well, the source starts by quoting Albert Einstein.
Albert Einstein.
Who said,
he's a smart guy.
Yeah, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them.
That's a great quote.
It is.
It's about, shifting our perspective.
Right.
To find solutions.
To find new solutions.
Right, yeah.
And then the Source introduces this idea that consciousness exists in waves of energy.
Okay, so it's getting cosmic now.
It is a little out there.
How do those waves of consciousness relate to a cure for cancer?
The Source suggests that these waves carry new information and energy that can influence the cells in our bodies.
So are you saying these waves hold the key?
Yeah. That's what it sounds like.
Wow.
It says if our own vibration doesn't elevate along with these new waves, our cells won't be able to synchronize with that healing frequency. So even if we pour trillions of dollars into research, a cure might remain elusive.
That's pretty profound.
It is.
So how do we raise our vibration then?
Well, the Source says we need to be receptive to these waves and allow our consciousness to expand.
Right.
It also highlights forgiveness as a key to releasing old trapped energy that might be blocking healing.
So it's like that holding on to resentment creates a blockage.
Yeah, it prevents that healing energy from flowing.
And all of these things are connected, right?
They are.
Consciousness, energy, healing, forgiveness.
It's like a tapestry.
It is like a tapestry.
Yeah.
And the Source shifts to a more optimistic vision of the future.
Okay.
Where this interconnectedness is fully embraced.
It's a beautiful vision.
What does that look like?
Well, it envisions a world of global unity where there's a universal language and cultural differences are celebrated rather than dividing us.
This sounds pretty amazing.
It does.
A world without borders where everyone
understands each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sees advancements in space exploration.
Wow.
Longer lifespans.
Okay.
A vast expansion of knowledge.
That would be amazing. Be able to live longer and learn more.
Right.
And the Source even suggests that women will take on more leadership roles.
Oh, wow.
Guiding humanity toward peace.
Towards peace and harmony.
That's really inspiring.
It is.
But how do we get there?
That's the big question.
From where we are now to this harmonious future.
Well, the Source emphasizes the importance of these teachings of EchoTruth.
Okay.
It highlights the need for balance with the environment, the eradication of diseases, and an end to poverty.
It's like a utopia.
It is a world where wisdom and compassion prevail.
Are there any warnings along the way?
There are.
The
Source acknowledges that if ignorance and a lust for power continue to dominate, we might face some serious consequences before we can reach this harmonious future.
So the choices we make now definitely matter.
Yeah, they have the power to shape the future.
Okay, so let's talk about living in accordance with creation. It's about aligning ourselves with the natural laws of the universe.
Right.
Tapping into what the Source calls the primal power.
That primal power, it's like a force of nature.
It is?
Yeah.
What does that refer to?
Well, it's not explicitly defined, but it seems to be referring to a fundamental energy that governs the natural world. The Source encourages us to connect with nature, to better understand these laws and how they operate.
So it's about learning from nature
Yeah.
and applying those lessons to our own lives.
To our own lives and the way we interact with the world.
What else does the Source say?
It emphasizes the importance of learning from the spiritual masters and prophets who have come before us. Their teachings hold valuable insights into these universal truths.
So honoring the wisdom of the past,
yes,
but also recognizing that truth is always evolving.
Absolutely.
The Source also warns against losing touch with our own inner wisdom, and it emphasizes the need to lead by example, inspiring others through our actions rather than forcing our beliefs upon them.
It's about embodying the change we want to see in the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, the Source then goes into the topic of justice.
Justice.
Suggesting that we seek justice through lawful means without causing harm.
So upholding justice while maintaining compassion.
Exactly. Finding that balance between accountability and understanding.
And the Source advocates for a more humane approach to punishment, focusing on rehabilitation rather than retribution.
So recognizing the inherent worth of every individual.
Absolutely.
Even those who've done wrong.
Even those who've made mistakes.
Yeah. And finally, the Source talks about the power of belief and truth.
Belief and truth.
Acknowledging the differences between believers and non-believers.
Right.
But emphasizing that even the smallest belief is fueled by the energy of creation itself.
So it's about respecting everyone's right to believe what they choose.
Right.
While also recognizing that belief itself is a powerful force.
Yeah. So staying true to our own beliefs,
Right.
but also being open to learning from others.
Absolutely.
This chapter has been quite the journey.
It has been a deep dive.
Through some pretty profound concepts.
Right. We've covered a lot of ground.
We have, from the power of DNA to the wisdom of nature to the importance of forgiveness.
Forgiveness.
And belief.
Yeah.
It all ties back to this idea of tapping into the power within ourselves.
Right.
To create a better world.
Absolutely.
And it's an ongoing journey, right?
It's a continual process.
It is.
Of learning, growing, evolving.
Yeah, embracing change.
Embracing change, yeah.
What does this all mean for you?
Yeah.
We've explored some pretty interesting concepts.
We have.
What resonated most with you?
Yeah, what stood out to you?
Was there a particular insight or technique that you found helpful?
Maybe you're interested in that exercise for connecting with your higher self. Or maybe you're inspired to keep a gratitude journal.
Right.
Or maybe you're thinking about how you can contribute to social change through nonviolent action.
Whatever it is, remember that the power to create a better future lies within each of us. It's time to awaken that power and step into our full potential.
Absolutely.
We've covered so much in this deep dive into the power within.
It's amazing how it all ties together.
It is, from, our own potential to the laws of creation to this, vision of a better future.
It is like a roadmap for transformation, both personally and collectively.
And we've explored so much,
We have.
Self-belief and
the power of DNA.
Nonviolence.
And even healing.
Right.
Through a shift in consciousness.
That's powerful stuff.
It is.
Yeah.
And one of the things that really stood out to me was this whole emphasis on empathy. It's not just about, understanding other people's perspectives.
Right.
It's about connecting with them.
Yeah, on a deeper level.
Yeah.
Seeing beyond their words and actions.
Right. And seeing their true essence.
Exactly.
And the source suggests that through empathy we can, break down those barriers and build bridges.
It's about recognizing our shared humanity and seeing the potential for good in everyone.
This whole chapter has been such a powerful reminder.
It has.
That we have so much power.
We do.
More than we realize.
Right.
It's not about controlling others or dominating the world.
It's about tapping into our inner strength.
Our wisdom, our compassion.
To make a positive impact.
That's what it's all about.
And it's an ongoing journey.
It is a process.
Right.
Of learning, growing, evolving.
Yeah. Embracing the change.
Embracing the change. Absolutely.
So, what does all of this mean for you? I mean, we've explored some pretty deep stuff.
We have.
What resonated with you?
Yeah, what stood out?
Was there a particular technique that you found helpful?
Maybe you're intrigued by that exercise for connecting with your higher self.
Yeah.
Maybe you're inspired to incorporate more gratitude into your life.
Right.
Or maybe you're thinking about how you can get involved in social change, through nonviolent action.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Just remember that the power to create a better future lies within each of us.
It does.
And it's time to awaken that power and step into our full potential.
It really is.
And as we wrap up this episode, we want to leave you with one final thought-provoking question.
All right, I like it.
If our DNA has the potential for vast knowledge, and our bodies are capable of incredible energy.
Wow.
What other hidden powers might we possess?
That's a great question to ponder.
It is.
Yeah.
The journey of self-discovery never ends.
It doesn't.
So keep exploring.
Keep questioning.
Keep questioning.
And most importantly,
keep believing.
Keep believing in the power within.
That's it for this deep dive.
Thanks for joining us.